Good morning. It's Thursday, July 14th. And Elon Musk is in the news again. Now, Elon Musk is the world's richest man. He owns Tesla, he owns SpaceX, and I don't know how many other things he owns. But I'm not so sure that he has the most intellect of any of the richest men in the world. Because he made a foolish bid for Twitter, willing to buy the company for $44 billion. And then he went down and he got a loan for a large portion of that money. He probably has the money to do that without getting a loan, but the loan is probably a more intelligent way for him to do the thing. The problem that I have with this so-called deal that he wanted to pull off was that he really didn't do his homework. And now, after a couple of months of hassling with the ownership of Twitter about spam accounts and other bogus accounts that might exist in their product line, he's decided to terminate the agreement, told him he's not going to go through with the agreement. Now that had consequences, because in the contract he signed, if he decided to back out, he would have to pay $1 billion. Now, that $1 billion might be chump change for him, but it's still $1 billion. And so he just backed out of the deal, and he claims, because he couldn't get the proper information on the spam accounts and the other bogus accounts that might exist in Twitter, which would make it less valuable. I mean, if you have, I don't know how many billion people use Twitter, but if you say 10% of them are bogus accounts, that reduces the value of the company. Because you all know that a lot of the money that Twitter makes in advertising. So if they have bogus accounts on there, the advertisers are paying money because those accounts are looked to them like they're possible customers. So I don't blame Musk for doing what he's doing necessarily, because he should be able to get that information. What I blame him for is going ahead and making this grand announcement that he's buying Twitter when he hasn't done his homework. And so now he's going to be sued by Twitter. They're suing to force him to buy the company. Now, I would have thought they're going to sue him just to get the $1 billion buyout. But that's not what's happening. That's not what's going on. He's being sued to force him to buy the company. Now, I don't know why. I guess they're going to go ahead with this suit and piss money away. I don't know. I'm not even sure they want him to buy the company. But maybe they want him to pay more of a penalty than the $1 billion. And maybe they do want him to buy the company, because maybe they figure that Twitter has lost its place in society. Maybe they're feeling that Twitter is not what it used to be, or it has reached its maximum growth potential. And this would be a good way to cash out. So I don't know. I'm not a Twitter fan. I don't have a Twitter account. I know I don't have a Twitter account. I see things that people send me on Twitter. So I don't think it's anything really special. I mean, you have things like Facebook and TikTok and a lot of other things out there on the web that compete with Twitter. So Twitter has a place in society for those people who want to get something off their mind, or they got to communicate in some way, shape, or form. So it's not necessarily bad. It's not a bad thing that Twitter is. But I don't use it. I'm not a big fan of those things. I have Facebook, but I don't really like to use that either. I'm strictly an email guy and a ranting guy, and I do my own stuff, but I don't use any of these websites. And I have a LinkedIn account, but I don't use that either, and I get announcements from LinkedIn all the time about what's going on, and I usually just ignore them. You know, their ex-business associates are out there, or there's some people that want to be associated. And the funny thing is, I'm retired for like 15 years now, and I get job offers from LinkedIn that there's a job open and I might be interested in it. But I don't do any of that stuff, you know. But getting back to Musk and the suit and everything. So they're suing him and they want him to buy the company. And maybe that's just a subterfuge. But in the meanwhile, I don't think that Elon Musk performed well in this situation. I certainly would not consider him, in my mind now, a Class A businessman. I think he's got a lot of money. He's got innovative ideas. He certainly has made a big contribution to our society with Tesla and his electric cars. Even though sales are off because they can't produce them fast enough, and there's chip problems and everything else. But he's contributed to society in some way, shape, or form. And the interesting thing, he's been a Democrat all these years, but he's fed up with the Democratic Party. So he's going to start voting Republican, he said. And maybe that's why I'm not too happy with him either. But that's beside the point. His politics really don't matter in this situation. It's just his actions. His actions have upset me because he didn't think things through and he didn't go about this as a rational businessman. Because nobody goes out and makes an offer like that until they've done their investigation. I mean, it's totally foreign to me to do exactly what he did. And maybe he's an attention-grabbing device. He likes the headlines and he likes to see his name in print. I don't know. I don't know about any of those things, but I think he acted like a schmuck in this case. Jumping into buying Twitter right away and trying to do things and then realizing that he made a mistake and he trumps up this whole thing. You like that, trumps up. He trumps up this whole thing about the bogus accounts. And maybe he's gotten away with stuff like that before. I do not know. So I leave you with that this morning. This is a wealthy, wealthy man who's made a big mistake. And now he's trying to get out of the deal gracefully. But it's not going to be graceful because Twitter has elected to sue him. Maybe he expected that. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. I don't know what he expected. I don't know if he's really thinks that far advanced. I think he knows what he's doing with SpaceX and he knows what he did with Tesla. So I leave you with that this morning. Have a great day and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.